Did you know that over 200,000 Australian jobs are at risk in 2025? And that number is climbing every single month? From construction workers to IT professionals, even retail managers, no industry is truly safe anymore. Entire sectors are collapsing under the weight of rising costs, global outsourcing, and aggressive automation. And while the headlines barely mention it, insiders are quietly jumping ship. Is it time to leave Australia? That's the uncomfortable question many skilled workers are now asking. Families are selling homes, young professionals are searching for overseas options, and students are turning away from once stable career paths. What's going on behind the scenes? And why is no one warning you? The silence is deafening, but the signs are everywhere. In this video, we're breaking down 10 urgent reasons why the Australian job market is crumbling. If you're living in Australia or planning to move there, you need to hear this before it's too late. Number 1. AI and automation replacing mid-level jobs. Imagine walking into your office one morning only to find your role vanished. Not because of a layoff or company restructure, but because a machine now does your job faster, cheaper, and without breaks. This is not a sci-fi future. It's already happening across Australia. AI and automation are no longer limited to manufacturing plants or futuristic tech firms. They're now deeply embedded in sectors like finance, logistics, customer service, data entry, and even healthcare admin. According to the CSIRO and Deloitte, nearly 40% of mid-level jobs in Australia are at risk of being replaced by AI or automated systems by the end of 2025. These are roles people believed were safe: project coordinators, payroll officers, insurance claims processors, jobs that used to come with stability and long-term growth. Why is this happening so fast? Because businesses are under pressure to cut costs and boost efficiency in a volatile economy. And AI doesn't sleep, doesn't ask for a raise, and doesn't take sick leave. Many companies have already integrated tools like chatbots, predictive analytics, and robotic process automation to reduce their dependency on human workers. So what can you do? The key is reskilling, urgently. Look toward careers that rely on creativity, emotional intelligence, hands-on skills, or strategic thinking. Things AI still struggles with. Fields like digital content creation, therapy, trades, and entrepreneurship are much more resistant to automation. The bottom line? If you're in a mid-level job that follows a script, AI is learning that script faster than you can update your resume. Number 2. Mass layoffs in construction and real estate. The cranes have stopped moving. The blueprints are gathering dust. Across Australia, the once booming construction and real estate sectors are grinding to a halt, and workers are paying the price. For years, these industries were seen as pillars of the Australian economy, fueling dreams of home ownership and stable employment. But in 2025, that dream is cracking. Rising interest rates, tightened lending rules, and falling investor confidence have led to thousands of cancelled projects and abandoned developments. Real estate agencies are closing down, construction firms are downsizing, and skilled tradespeople are being forced to take contracts overseas, or worse, leave the industry entirely. The data is chilling. According to a recent report by the Housing Industry Association, new home builds have dropped to a 10-year low, and job losses are accelerating, especially in urban centres like Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. It's not just builders. Surveyors, architects, site managers, and even property marketers are feeling the squeeze. So why should you care? Because when construction stalls, it triggers a domino effect across the economy. Less demand for materials, fewer loans approved, declining commissions. And for workers, that means unpaid bills, shrinking hours, and uncertain futures. If you're working in or studying towards a construction or property-related career, this is your wake-up call. It may be time to diversify your skill set, explore infrastructure roles in government projects, or pivot to industries like renewable energy, which are still growing. When the foundations crack, the whole structure is at risk. And right now, Australia's construction sector is crumbling. Number 3. Shrinking demand in traditional retail. Once bustling shopping centres now echo with silence. Empty storefronts, closing down signs, and slashed prices paint a clear picture. Traditional retail in Australia is on life support. The retail sector, especially brick-and-mortar stores, has been hit by a perfect storm. The explosion of online shopping, rising rent and utility costs, and changing consumer habits post-pandemic. Once considered a reliable job entry point, retail is now one of the fastest declining employment sectors. And it's not just cashiers or floor staff being affected. Store managers, regional reps, and even visual merchandisers are being laid off as chains consolidate or shut down entirely. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, over 30,000 retail jobs were lost in the past 18 months, and forecasts show the trend will continue. With platforms like Amazon, Shine, and Temu dominating online sales, traditional retailers simply can't compete on price, convenience, or scale. Foot traffic is down, and consumer spending has shifted dramatically toward digital and mobile-first experiences. But here's what most people don't see. This isn't just about shopping. It's about the collapse of a whole career path that once offered growth, flexibility, and advancement. If you're currently in retail or planning to be, it's time to adapt. Fast. Your best move: transition toward e-commerce, digital marketing, UX design, or supply chain management. Fields still thriving behind the scenes of the modern retail world. Because let's face it, when consumers stop walking into stores, jobs walk out the door. Number 4. Outsourcing of white-collar jobs. Think your office job is safe because it's behind a desk? Think again. In 2025, Australia is seeing a quiet exodus, not of people, but of jobs silently moving offshore. White-collar roles, once seen as secure and prestigious, are now being outsourced at alarming rates. We're talking about accounting, data analysis, customer service, IT support, HR coordination, and even marketing. Why? Because companies are chasing lower labor costs and finding them in places like India, the Philippines, and Eastern Europe. These countries offer skilled workers who can do the same job for a fraction of the salary. According to recent research from PwC, nearly 1 in 5 Australian white-collar roles are expected to be outsourced or automated by the end of 2025. And this isn't just affecting entry-level positions. Even seasoned professionals are being asked to train their overseas replacements or accept pay cuts to stay competitive. It's a trend few talk about, but its impact is massive. Talented workers are being left behind, forced to compete on a global scale without any real warning or preparation. The job market is no longer local. It's global, 24/7, and cutthroat. So what's the move? Focus on roles that demand local knowledge, licensing, or direct human interaction. Think relationship management, creative leadership, or industries tied to Australian regulations. And most importantly, develop transferable skills that can't be easily replicated or exported. Because in today's economy, the biggest threat to your job might not be the guy next to you, but someone 8,000 kilometers away with a stable internet connection. Number 5. International student exodus. Australia's education sector is bleeding, and it's taking thousands of jobs with it. For decades, international students have been the lifeblood of universities, private colleges, and countless part-time job markets. But in 2025, that flow is drying up faster than anyone expected. Tighter visa policies, skyrocketing tuition fees, and increased global competition are pushing students to choose Canada, the UK, and even Asian universities over Australia. According to data from the Department of Home Affairs, international student enrolments dropped by nearly 17% in the past year alone, a devastating blow to institutions and industries built around their presence. But the damage goes far beyond campuses. With fewer international students, thousands of part-time jobs in hospitality, retail, housing, and campus services are vanishing. Cafes near campuses are closing. Student housing complexes sit half empty. And casual work opportunities that once helped locals and migrants survive are now becoming rare. If you work in education, events, real estate, or rely on student foot traffic, this downturn could hit hard. It's no longer just about education, it's about a massive shift in Australia's economic and cultural ecosystem. The smart move now? Consider pivoting to online education, edtech, or global student recruitment roles, which are still growing, even as local options shrink. Because when the students disappear, so do the jobs that kept cities alive. If this video made you pause and think, even for a second, drop a comment below. We read everyone. We pour our heart into these videos, so if you found value here, please subscribe. It's just one click, but it means the world to us. Number 6. Government budget cuts. You'd think working for the government means job security, right? Not anymore. Across Australia, massive budget cuts are slashing through the public sector like a wrecking ball, leaving behind thousands of unemployed workers and stalled services. Following years of heavy pandemic spending and rising national debt, the government is now pulling back. Hiring freezes, funding cuts, and role consolidations are happening in departments once thought untouchable: education, health, transport, and community services. Even frontline workers aren't immune. Teachers are overloaded, nurses are burning out, and admin roles are being merged or scrapped entirely. According to a 2025 budget review by the Grattan Institute, public sector job growth has flatlined, and thousands of short-term contracts have not been renewed. This means fewer opportunities for new grads, more competition for permanent roles, and stagnant wages even as the cost of living rises. But here's the silent danger. When public sector jobs dry up, so do all the local businesses that rely on government workers. Cafes near government buildings, training centres, office suppliers, they all feel the ripple effect. If you're in or planning a career in the public sector, now is the time to diversify your options. Explore opportunities in NGOs, private consultancies, or international organisations that value public service experience but aren't chained to budget politics. Because when the government tightens its belt, the people closest to the system are the first to feel the squeeze. Number 7. Tech sector oversaturation. For years, tech was the golden ticket. Everyone wanted to become a coder, app developer, or software engineer. Boot camps promised six-figure salaries, and universities ramped up enrollment in IT degrees. But in 2025, that bubble is beginning to burst, and fast. Australia's tech sector is now flooded with graduates and junior developers, all chasing the same shrinking pool of entry-level roles. At the same time, major tech companies are freezing hires, slashing headcounts, or outsourcing to cheaper markets overseas. The dream job in a fancy startup? It's become a lottery, and most aren't winning. Reports from the Tech Council of Australia show that more than 30% of new IT graduates are struggling to find relevant work within a year of graduating. Even experienced professionals are facing unexpected layoffs as venture capital dries up and businesses scale back ambitious digital projects. And here's the twist. While everyone raced to learn how to code, few paid attention to the niche roles that AI and automation can't easily replace. Fields like cybersecurity, ethical AI, blockchain auditing, tech policy, and digital accessibility are still in high demand. But they require more than just basic coding. So what's the takeaway? It's not enough to just be in tech. You need to be in the right part of tech, the part that solves real problems, not just builds flashy apps. Because when everyone's shouting, "I can code," the quiet voice that says, "I can protect your data, ensure fairness, or build secure systems," will stand out loudest. Number 8. Gig economy burnout. Remember when driving for Uber or delivering food seemed like a flexible, easy way to earn? In 2025, that dream has turned into a grind that's barely keeping workers afloat. Australia's gig economy, once hailed as the future of work, is now saturated, unstable, and unsustainable. Rideshare drivers, food delivery couriers, and task-based freelancers are working longer hours for shrinking pay, all while covering their own fuel, maintenance, and insurance costs. With more people turning to gig platforms to survive layoffs, competition is fierce and payouts are dropping. According to the Transport Workers Union, over 50% of gig workers now earn below minimum wage once expenses are factored in. Add to that the lack of job security, no superannuation, zero sick leave, and algorithm-based scheduling, and it's no wonder so many workers are mentally and financially burning out. The emotional toll is real. Many report feeling exhausted, isolated, and constantly stressed, unsure of how much they'll make week to week. And with no clear career path or stability, even those working full-time hours are left living paycheck to paycheck. So, what's the alternative? Use gig work as a stepping stone, not a long-term solution. Invest time in building skills that offer upward mobility. Think digital freelancing, online teaching, trades, or creative services that don't rely on ever-changing algorithms. Because if your livelihood depends on an app that can deactivate you with one click, you're not working for yourself. You're just renting your time to the lowest bidder. Number 9. Remote work globalization. You got the degree, the experience, and the home office setup, but suddenly you're out of work. Why? Because in 2025, your job might be done just as well by someone halfway across the world, for half the cost. Remote work was supposed to empower Australians, offering flexibility, comfort, and access to global companies. But now it's becoming a double-edged sword. As more businesses embrace remote models, they're also looking beyond Australian borders for cheaper, equally skilled labour. For roles in tech support, digital marketing, content writing, bookkeeping, and design, geography no longer matters. Price does. A report by LinkedIn Australia revealed that over 35% of companies are actively outsourcing remote roles overseas to cut costs. For local workers, this means increased competition, lower rates, and fewer job openings. Even long-term freelancers are feeling the pressure as global platforms flood with applicants willing to undercut just to land the gig. But here's the catch: not all jobs can be outsourced. If you want to survive this wave, focus on roles that require local expertise, cultural understanding, legal certification, or in-person presence. Think compliance officers, licensed consultants, therapists, project managers with local stakeholder experience, and creators who know the Australian audience inside out. Because when companies can hire anyone, anywhere, your edge is being someone they can't easily replace. Number 10. Rising cost of living, making low-paid work unsustainable. What's the point of having a job if you still can't afford to live? That's the harsh reality for hundreds of thousands of Australians in 2025. Even full-time workers, especially in retail, hospitality, childcare, and aged care, are now struggling just to survive, not thrive. The cost of living has exploded. Rent has reached record highs in cities like Sydney and Melbourne. Fuel prices are unpredictable, and grocery bills are climbing faster than wages. But the real crisis: wages in low-income jobs haven't kept up. Many people are working 40-plus hours a week and still dipping into savings or going into debt just to cover essentials. A 2025 report by the Australian Council of Social Service found that nearly one-third of full-time workers are now classified as working poor. That means they're earning just enough to stay afloat, but not enough to plan for the future, build wealth, or handle emergencies. This is more than a money issue. It's a mental health and social stability crisis. Burnout, anxiety, and hopelessness are becoming everyday experiences for workers who feel trapped in low-paying roles with no upward mobility. So what now? It's time to get strategic. Upskilling, side hustles, remote freelancing, or transitioning into essential services or skilled trades could be the way forward. Find where your existing strengths meet market demand and start there. Because when working full-time still leaves your fridge empty, something's seriously broken, and waiting it out is no longer an option. Australia's job market isn't just going through a rough patch, it's undergoing a major transformation. From AI replacing stable office roles, to construction sites shutting down, to public sector cuts and gig economy burnout, the warning signs are everywhere. And let's not forget the rising cost of living, which is making even full-time jobs feel like a losing battle. If you've been feeling uneasy about your future, trust your instincts. You're not imagining things. The landscape is shifting fast, and those who wait for things to go back to normal may be left behind. This is the time to act, not out of fear, but out of awareness. Whether that means reskilling, moving industries, or even considering opportunities overseas, the key is to stay ahead of the curve. Don't cling to the comfort of familiarity. Embrace adaptability. That's what will separate those who thrive from those who struggle. Remember, change is hard, but being unprepared is harder.